Good afternoon. It is 3:30, and I would like to call the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners full board to order. Could I have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Vice Chair Foster.
Here.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Here.
Chairman Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Larry.
Here.
Commissioner Mahoney. Here. Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Skolnick.
Excuse.
Commissioner Snyder.
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins. Here. 8 present, 1 excused.
And we do have a quorum. Now I would like to ask everyone to stand. We will have invocation by Pastor McLean and Pledge of Allegiance following that. Pastor McLean, thank you for stepping in today. I appreciate you being available on short notice.
Father God, creator of all living things, we thank you for these elected servants gathered to conduct business for the benefit of the citizens and businesses of this county. We as interested guests, along with these commissioners, acknowledge our need of wisdom, counsel beyond our own understanding. Therefore, we invite your divine presence today. In the middle of our human conditions, we invite your spirit of truth, of order, respect, unity, and peace to fill this place and guide our deliberations. Thank you for keeping our minds and hearts. I ask these things in the name of Jesus the Christ, in anticipation of his coming kingdom, even in this place. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Commissioner Hovey Wright, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to remind all the commissioners to make sure that your microphone is pulled up and that the button is on. And remind anyone who speaks today to please state your name and where you live in the microphone and hold your comments to 2 minutes or less. Now we will have a motion to approve the agenda for today.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Can we add liaison reports to this agenda?
Certainly. I think we might have that on here. We do already have that on there, Commissioner Laring, under number 10.
Thank you.
A motion to approve.
So moved.
the Motion by Commissioner Nash, second by Commissioner Wilkins. Any questions on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. That motion is carried. Now we have approval of the minutes of February 11th, 2020 for the regular and the closed sessions.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Foster, second by Commissioner Mahoney. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. That motion is carried. Now we have time set aside for public comment on an agenda item. Is there anyone in the public that would like to have a comment on an agenda item? Seeing no one, we will move on to communications. There are 5 items of communication from different counties that will be placed on file and will be a permanent part of this record. Are there any comments or on any of those? Seeing none, we will move on to committee and board reports. Community Development and Strategic Planning Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Community Development and Strategic Planning Committee met on February 18th, 2020, and there were no action items for that committee.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Nash. We will move on from there to, on the wrong page here. We'll move on to the Transportation Committee. Commissioner Wilkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Transportation Committee met on February 18th, 2020. It was recommended, and I move TR 200201.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wilkins, a second by Commissioner Foster. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Larry.
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney.
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Chairman Hughes. 8 yes.
And that motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Wilkins. Next on our agenda is Ways and Means, and Bob is not here. We will have Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did have one correction on that community development. That was February 13th, not the 13th, not the 18th.
Okay,
The Ways Committee met on February 18th. It was recommended, and I move WM 2002-17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And there's also an item that was from previous postponement that was added, HS 2002-9.
Support.
we have a motion and support. Any comments, questions, or concerns?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I would
Commissioner
like
Foster.
to make an amendment on number 09, the 0209, to allow the sheriff or prosecutor's office to allow to start hiring for this process.
Any questions? Or do we have a second on the
Second.
second by Commissioner Mahoney? Any questions on that? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Laring.
Yes, I'm sorry. No on number 19, 21, yes on the rest.
Commissioner Mahoney.
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
That would be 8 yes on 17, 18, 20, and 7 yes, 1 no on 19 and 21. Well, they didn't vote on the amendment first. Are you voting on the amendment or the full order? Because when they were announcing their vote,
The amendment.
the amendment only.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's only on the amendment for 09. And we'll start again then. Commissioner Laring,
Yes on the amendment.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
8 yes on the amendment to 09.
Thank you. Now, could I have a roll call on 17 through 21, please?
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring.
No on 19 and no on 21.
And Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
There are 7 yeses on 17, 18, 20, and 1 no on 19, and 1 no on 21.
And that motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That will conclude my
Wait,
report.
we still have to go back to 09. Now we have to go and approve that motion in totality.
Okay, we will go back and we've approved the motion and the amendment to that motion. So now we will go
That's
back
correct.
and vote on 09. Madam Clerk, would you roll call 09, please?
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring.
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney.
Yes.
Chairman Hughes.
Yes,
8 yes.
and that motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That will conclude my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. I'm sorry I missed that.
That's okay.
We will now move on to the chairman's report. First on that, I have a citizen appointment for the Health West Board of Directors. This is a reappointment of Cheryl Natty as a consumer and a secondary advisor to that
So
committee.
move.
We have a motion by
Support.
Commissioner Snyder, seconded by Commissioner Mahoney. She's been a long-term board and very well represents the users of that group. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oppose the same. That motion is carried. Next, I have a proclamation for approval as proclaiming March 30th, 2020 as Spark Success Day throughout Muskegon County, uniting school officials, parents, students, business, and community leaders.
So move.
We have a motion and support for that proclamation for the public schools. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oppose the same. That motion is carried. I'd like to remind you that the 12th annual Dancing with the Local Stars charity event begins Thursday, the 27th, with its last performance on Sunday, the 29th. The farmers market is opening the Winners Farmers Market on Saturdays from 9 to 2, and they will be offering produce and homemade goods. And the celebration of Black History Month continues, and we're inviting you to attend the Muskegon native John Covington's documentary Black Man, which comes to life in a live version on Saturday, the 29th at the Hackley Public Library. And I would like to find out, do we have any committee liaisons that have a report? I'm assuming Commissioner Laring does.
Yeah, so the Health Advisory Committee met last week, and I would like, the Director of Public Health gave a informational update on what's going on with Muskegon Family Care, and I would like her to do a short presentation on what she presented at the to the Health Advisory Committee, if that's okay.
Kathy, are you prepared to do that? Okay.
Thank you. Kathy Moore, Public Health Director. So just a brief update on Muskegon Family Care. While it is definitely a very unfortunate situation, we do have some amazing health and human service agencies in Muskegon County who have really taken proactive steps to help fill that gap. I serve as the chair of the Muskegon Shire, and Shire stands for Community Health Improvement. They are affiliated with Mercy Health. Mercy Health is the fiduciary, and they are also affiliated with the most recent livability lab that has generated a lot of energy in the community. So as a Shire, we have met proactively even prior to the announcement of the closure to make tentative plans just in case this happened. And I wanted to just highlight some of the leaders who really just volunteered to bring resources to the table. Hackley Community Care, Health West, Mercy Health, Affinia Health, Access Health, and the Muskegon Community Health Project. Just a side note, I'm not committing any Muskegon County or public health resources except my time to this endeavor. You may have read that Hackley Community Care has hired some of the providers along with a few of the support staff and transitioned or will be able to transition about 6,700 of those clients under that care. Health West, again, has volunteered to take back and take on some of the clients that they formerly served and had moved on to Muskegon Family Care, but they have a working relationship with them already. Mercy Health via Affinia Health is reaching out to providers who would not normally take on additional patients right now, but asking them to please do so, even on a temporary basis. At the state level, Representative Sabo, Bumstead, and Van Workum are working on a grant that could help Hackley Community Care actually fund expansion of their services through the end of the year. And at the federal level, HRSA has agreed to expedite the federally qualified health center application so that Hackley Community Care could apply for expanded and additional FQHC funding. It's really necessary because just the Medicaid reimbursement, Medicaid and Medicare reimbursement alone does not necessarily cover the cost. And so we do actually need the federal funding to help with the wraparound services and the state funding to help just extend the program and service offerings through the end of the year. For HRSA, expedited could be up to 9 months. And that's why we need that state funding to fill the gap. In addition, United Way of the Lakeshore and Michigan Works met with some of the staff who were laid off last week. So they met last week with some of the staff who were laid off to talk about employment benefits and other resources available and that they qualify for in the community. They plan to conduct a series of these meetings with the employees. And so they're helping cover the employment side. There's still a lot of work to do, but we meet every Thursday at 5:00 to just touch base and see what we can do to keep this from being, more detrimental than it is. I did send a statement to the state, and I'll pass that along. It's a little more official and probably longer than you'd like. And one of the other, so 3 primary categories. First, to reconnect the patients to a primary health care physician. So some of that has taken place, and we still have more work to do in that regard. The other is to reconnect or to connect the former employees to new employment opportunities. We hope to have a job fair where various health and human service agencies can come to the table and just tell the employees about the jobs that they have open, but even the future jobs that they may have open and those qualifications, so that if they do go back to school or something else, they'll know what to prepare for. And then the final thing is the building. So I also met at Representative Sabo's request, I met with the City of Muskegon Heights mayor and some of their council people, and they were very concerned about the building and the use of that building. And although we don't have any of the answers and a lot of the decisions are out of our control, we did leave saying that, we want to also help and commit that the use of that building or that building will continue to be used even if it's repurposed. So we don't want to forget about that beautiful asset in Muskegon Heights, and we want to make use of that. And it may not necessarily be in a healthcare setting, but we just need to know that it's there. So any questions?
Thank you, Director Moore. I really appreciate you stepping up and helping the community, and it sounds like you're right on top of it. I really appreciate that.
Yes, we have an amazing, we just have an amazing collaborative group of organizations in Muskegon County. So thanks to them as well.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
And I attended the meeting with Kathy West, and it was really important for the people to hear from someone with some real solutions if we can get there. So I'm grateful that she did a great job.
Thank you. That's important. Commissioner Luring, anything else?
Well, Ken and I attended the road commission meeting together, and it was fairly contentious, but there's not much the board can do about some of the issues. But a number of the residents are complaining about the lack of ditch maintenance that the road commission is doing. And it's something that I've addressed with the road commission on several occasions. What's happening is the road commission maintains the downward slope of the ditch, but they will not maintain the bottom or the upward slope. They have a 66-foot wide easement or right-of-way. You're not allowed to put anything in there as a private residence. You're not allowed to put a culvert in there. You're not allowed to maintain the ditch, and you're not allowed to put a fence in there or do any maintenance to it. The road commission has to do it. Well, when the road commission determines that they need to do some work to the roads, they're actually applying an assessment to those neighborhoods and charging the residents. The residents have somewhat agreed to pay for additional gravel or resurfacing, but what they're complaining about is that the road commission is also charging them for ditches. The ditches are part of the road commission's responsibility, and if you look at their website, they include that in their maintenance, but they're not doing it. And my complaint with the road commission is they won't even mow the bottom or the upward slope of the ditches, and you'll have trees growing 10, 12 inches of diameter in the ditch lines, which proves that they're not mowing it. Now, I know there's nothing we can do about this at our level, but it has been expressed to the road commission for years now that they're not maintaining the ditches nor mowing them, and we have all these trees and brush growing up in the ditches. And then I also readdressed the road commission, asking them if there's anything we can do about some of this very large farm equipment that is operating in some of the rural areas, way over legal load limits. And they pretty much throw up their hands and say there's nothing they can do about it. But it is a county-wide problem where we have county large farming operations and also out-of-county farmers that are hauling manure into the county and tearing up our county roads. They claim there's nothing they can do about it. I don't know if there's anything that we can do about it on the county level, but as a commissioner standpoint, but it would be nice if we could get the county road commission to maintain these ditch lines. It's their easement, they maintain them, but they're not, and it is causing a water problem countywide. Was a lot of complaints. There is at every one of these meetings where the ditches are full and they're not flowing, and it's because of a lot of debris that has grown up naturally in these ditch lines, and the residents can't even go out there and cut these trees down in the ditch line. The road commission will send them a letter that they're not allowed to do that.
I appreciate that information. I'm myself am not sure what we can do, if anything, on that.
I didn't
and
really
I know that some of
expect
them are drain commissioner ditches too, so I don't know. I don't know.
It seems to be a problem. I didn't really expect an action point here, so I was just trying to, I guess, let the board know there is some issues, particularly in the rural area where there's gravel roads and ditches, that the ditches aren't functioning. There's a lot of collaboration between the drain commissioner, the road commission, and Ken and myself. We've been part of these conversations.
Good. Perfect.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Today, the Veterans Committee met, and we got on Lupe Alviar. Lupe Alviar was the former chair for many, many years and a member since the beginning of that organization. His health's not doing very well right now, so I just asked everybody to keep him in their thoughts and prayers.
Is he in the hospital? Or?
No, he's bedridden at home again, but he has been that way for like 60 days.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, just
yes.
a quick suggestion. I was at the Michigan Works yesterday. Those folks in Muskegon County who are on Medicaid are going to be facing a work requirement or a training requirement, and that time is coming soon where they have to report it. Otherwise, they will lose the health insurance. They have to have 80 hours, and I'm not sure what the whole details are, but they have to either be trained in training, they're going to be working or volunteering or something that they can commit those hours. Otherwise, they lose their Medicaid.
Thank you. Before you start, Commissioner Harvey Wright, I just want to say Kim Mahoney is on the board for Michigan Works, and I was supposed to be on that board. It conflicts with another meeting that I have in Muskegon County, and I'd just like to thank Commissioner Mahoney for stepping up and being both me and you.
Oh,
But
okay.
you've been there a long time, and I know that's in great hands, and I really appreciate you doing that. And I think you're president of that this year, correct?
Chair or something.
Chair, whatever they call that.
I drew the short straw.
Congratulate you. You will do a great job. I'm proud of you, and thank you very much for stepping up for that. Commissioner Harvey Wright.
Yes, I just have a question. It came up last week when we were hearing about the bus system, wondering what the schedule is going forward, and I don't remember that being out there. So just wondered if we could be informed about that.
Right. We have a meeting with Muskegon Township coming up. Yes, we want to do that township, and we also have a schedule for Muskegon Heights that has not been scheduled yet. So once we get those two complete, we'll bring our results back to the board
Okay.
and go forward from there.
Okay.
Any other commissioners have a report? Seeing none, Kathy Moore looks like she's got something else she wants to
Yes,
tell us.
I'm sorry. Kathy Moore, Public Health Director. Just an update on the novel coronavirus. Public Health's role is to investigate any suspect low and medium risk cases. So far to date, we have investigated 4 cases. One was a self-reported from a person who visited a positive case in Chicago. And we, did the questionnaire, and we monitored and quarantined for the 14-day incubation period, quarantine period, and that case was cleared. The second, it was another self-reported case of an individual who went to his doctor and had told his employer that he had been in China, and his employer required him to be cleared before he returned back to work. So the doctor called us on a Saturday, and we returned the call. We found the case, did the investigation. We're following a CDC guideline, and that case was eventually cleared as well. The other 2 cases, so we've only had 4 to date. The other 2 cases is a married couple that was traveling on a cruise ship and still low to medium risk. We got a hold of them on the cruise ship, and they also live in out of state, out of the state of Michigan for 5 months of the year. So they're not set to return back to Muskegon County until May. But they are exhibiting no symptoms and are subsequently cleared of possible coronavirus. So Muskegon County, we have 0 cases, definitely 0 cases of positive, and we have no cases that we are investigating at this time, so no low or medium risk cases. The state of Michigan, of course, is monitoring quite a big number, but they've only tested 5, and all 5 of those individuals came back negative. So we have no positive cases of the novel coronavirus in the state of Michigan. And then we still have the 15 and counting cases in the United States, but so far all of those cases have been traced back to travel from China. And that's it.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
That's good information for us. Thank you. No more commissioners with I would like to move on then to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have one item for discussion. We scheduled a tour of Pioneer Park next Thursday, the March 5th at 3:30. So far, I only have 3 that can attend that. So I was going to ask the board, should I look at a different date that works better for most, or Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Wilkins are the only 3 that committed to next March 5th.
Tuesday or Thursday?
It's a Thursday.
Yeah, that's fine.
Charles Nash.
Commissioner Laring, yeah, that work
Still
for
on
you?
the 5th?
Still on the 5th, yes.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Commissioner Foster, 5th.
I can do it, but I might be a little late.
You know how to get to the bathhouse, right?
I know how to get to the bathhouse.
All right.
Commissioner Schneider, is that going to work for you? Maybe. Okay. Commissioner Mahoney.
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Well, thank you. That'll get it. Everybody there. I'll check with Commissioner Skolnick. He had to go take his wife to the hospital today, so he could not join us today. So I'll check with him later this week. Other than that, that's all I had for questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Is there any old business to come before this board today?
Madam
Yes.
Chair, it may be new business, but I think it's old business on Health West. I would like to make a motion to ask administration to start the process of making them an authority.
Okay. I'll second that motion. Is there any comments, questions, or concerns?
Clarification. Are you
I
asking?
guess we don't even
would
need a
like-
vote on that. We just,
asking
yeah,
Just asking
we,
authority.
yeah,
We've already been through this step.
Yep.
We've already been through the work session. Would like staff to start the process of making them an authority.
bringing that back through which committee?
I would assume Ways and Means. Am I correct?
Oh,
Or would it be Human
It might be
Services?
Human Services.
Human Services.
Yeah. And we had a work session on this previously. So, all right. Any other comments from the commissioners?
You want to
I guess I'm trying
Take
to
a call on
understand what
that?
this motion is. What we're
Start the
looking for.
process of making Health West an authority. Basically, make Health West an authority. We've already done the process. We already know the ups, the downs.
it'll take
It'll
a
take,
minimum of 1 year to get through that process.
that's why I think that we do need to get started.
I'm not sure. Well, is this open for discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could be.
Well,
Go ahead, Commissioner Nash.
number one is this is kind of a last minute deal.
No.
I didn't hear second support, so I'm concerned about us moving forward. But I think that we're kind of in a hurry, right? But again, this is a last minute deal. It should be 2 seconds on this, not just one. And the other thing I'm looking at is that the timing of this is not right. We haven't even got through this situation that we're dealing with the state, and to talk about trying to move to an authority, I think is just really bad timing right now. Yeah, I don't see how we can move forward with that.
And I would like to respond to Commissioner Nash. When we had the work session on that, we discussed the pros and cons of that. And since it does take a year to move forward with something like that, I think it would be a good idea to start that process now. That's the reason. That's the reason I seconded the motion. I think, if it's going to take us a year anyway, we're getting farther and farther in the hole right now. So, Commissioner Harvey Wright was next.
Yeah, just that was a while ago. I don't remember all the details of the pros and cons. I think we need to review that before we can move forward with anything. I believe it really needs to go through the normal process
We did.
through the committee first, and then brought here.
Commissioner Snyder.
I would ask that it be withheld for the period of time that it would take for the current lawsuit that is pending against the state at this point to be resolved, and a number of other things that are going on with respect to securing the balance of the financing. I think we would be compromising our potential to recover and get the funding, which is a state obligation to Health West, back on stream. I think we would be damaging our ability to keep the morale up of the existing organization. I understand it's difficult for the county. I also understand it is difficult for the people who are working at Health West and who are attempting to do their best to secure the well-being of a population that deserves full attention. And with the current situation of that base expanding with what's going on with Hackley Community Care, that base is getting larger. I think this would be a slap in the face to them at this point. I recognize that it's not intended for that purpose. However, I think it will be construed in that manner, and I think it is something that we should withhold for the time being.
It's premature, I think.
I'd like to ask Corporate Counsel, has the lawsuit been filed?
There's a pending action between the LRE and the state. It's an administrative action, so earned for 60 days. So So there's going to be another status conference in April, I believe, if I have my dates right. But I will say too that as to the procedure, I believe that a motion from the floor then has to be referred to committee for recommendation before making its way back to the Board of Commissioners.
Okay. Zach, I'm sorry, Commissioner Laring.
Yes, so I wanted to actually kind of address that, but our new board rules did eliminate the 3-commissioner rule, and so this vote would refer it back to the committee. What I think that's what Gary's motion is. Under our board rules, he's going to refer this action back to the committee where we can adequately debate this issue, and I think it's high time. I mean, we've created a loose cannon in our county with Health West. They have no accountability. On the letter they sent this week, they're finally doing what we asked them to do several months ago, and stop hiring new employees and try to limit their services. And it's about time that they've done that. And I would appreciate Gary making this motion. It's going to take a year to do this. I say let's get it started because these things take so long. So let's get the ball rolling and get it in that direction. Let's move this back to committee and have this healthy debate.
And I'd like to ask Mike too. Mike, if we start this ball rolling towards, if we decide, 6 months in, we can say we've decided against it, correct?
Yeah, I don't think that at this point you're obligated to move forward with it, particularly on the motion to refer it back to the committee for that debate. So there's been no final decision by the board.
Okay. I would like to refer it back just so that we can start getting more information.
Madam
Would
Chair,
that be the move there? Yes.
I would disagree with Mr. Laring's characterization as a loose cannon. I don't think it is a loose cannon. I think it is an operation that is suffering from lack of funding and at the same time trying to do its best to provide services that are required in this particular community and have been there for a long period of time. I think that particularly with the characterization that this is a bunch of loose cannons floating around out there, it's detrimental to the morale of the people who are attempting to serve this population, particularly since this population is now expanding with the closure of the Hackley building, healthcare, community healthcare, Hackley Community Healthcare. And I just think your characterization is misplaced. And I have a conflict of interest as a representative of the Health West Board, as the treasurer of the Health West Board, as the first chair of the Lakeshore Regional Entity, on whose board I still sit and which is responsible for the transfer of funds, as well as my position here. I don't think I could get another hat on my head if I had to. But I think it would be detrimental to that operation to simply pick it up and get going at this point, and I will take that as my stand.
Thank you. Commissioner Nash.
Yeah, I just wanted to second to support what John is saying, because this is a lot bigger than what we think it is. It's much bigger than what, it's bigger than politics. It's bigger than anything. We're talking about the employees. We also have a major situation that we're trying to deal with the state, which I think is probably the most important thing right now. And until we get that resolved, we don't have a picture to move forward with an authority. They don't have the revenue or the means to be able to do that. They don't own anything. They're part of the county. And so we have to really look at that whole picture. But right now, I think our first priority should be trying to get through this case, trying to figure out how to get this resolved. Once that get resolved, then I'm glad to open up this discussion again. But again, I think having this discussion and even bringing this forward can deaden the morale of the staff. It can have an effect on the negotiations that we're having with the state. you know, we're opening up something that I don't think we realize what we're doing, and we really need to take it slow and one step at a time. I think everything will get itself resolved. But again, when you mentioned the Muskegon family care situation, that just added a whole load of people to a lot of medical facilities in our community, including Mercy, including Hackley Community Care. And they're all coming together. I'm so proud of what those folks are doing, those organizations, what Kathy just mentioned. It's just because of what they're doing that some of the people are still able to receive the services that they're getting. But there's waiting lists being built up at all these facilities right now because they don't have the manpower capacity to be able to deal with the fallout. And we just can't make any happenstep, decisions at this time that's going to jeopardize that even more.
Administrator, I'd like to recommend that we have another work session on this so that we make everybody more informed on what's going on. And after that, we would, would that be all right, Commissioner
Absolutely.
Foster? And I will withdraw my second. We'll get a work session scheduled so that we can refresh everybody and let them know where the situation stands right now with our lawsuit, with the finances with Health West, and the opportunity that takes at least a year to go through. So let's do that again so that we're a little bit more knowledgeable about what's going on.
Yeah, and I would support that. I think that's a more place for a healthier debate
I
than
think
the
so, too.
committee. The committee is so small.
Well, let's
I'm
do
not
that.
maybe 2 or 3 people, whereas the work session is all of us. So I
We'll
think
do
that's
that.
a healthier place to have that happen.
I agree. We will move on now. Yes.
Just a quick point and to follow up. Rather than trying to scapegoat Health West, the real scapegoat here is the state of Michigan and not funding it correctly.
Right.
Correct.
It's
Amen.
not Health West at all. To characterize them as a loose cannon, I'm with John. That's not a correct characterization. Their funding problems began a long time ago because of the state of Michigan, and that's ought to be our target, so to speak, rather than the fine folks that are doing the job out there.
And we will discuss that at close or at the at a work session so that we have an idea. Let's just move on from this. Okay.
I have one more
Go
comment.
right ahead,
Madam Chair.
Commissioner.
So, Commissioner Snyder, I appreciate you sharing your conflict of interest in this. One question: how much is the county in the hole for this debt with Health West at this point?
I'd ask the financial manager to step forward and answer
Brandy?
the question.
Can let us know what's happening as of today.
Carlson, Health West Chief Financial Officer. According to the memo that I had also sent out yesterday in accordance with Julia's memo on some of our reduction plans, yesterday's deficit cash flow was $15 million. Of that, $1.7 million is due from the state for fiscal year 18 Medicaid dollars. $9.1 million is due from the state for fiscal year 19 Medicaid dollars. $4.4 million is due from the state for February Medicaid dollars. The remaining of that $200,000 is federal and state grants, which is drawn 1 month behind, so we will receive that in the month of March. I would just, if I may, point out that because of the continued decrease in funding provided by the state, Health West has moved forward trying to obtain different types of funding to still meet the needs of our community. While that doesn't cover the state's requirements with us, it does continue to allow us to serve our individuals in our community in a different manner. We are one of the, we are the second CMH across the state of Michigan with such a diverse funding source, and that's what's allowing us to continue to serve the additional individuals we can serve to provide assistance with Muskegon Family Care when we know we're going to get those substance use individuals back in our door that we had transitioned out. So any other question? Yes, sir.
Well, that amount is how much?
15.45.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Brandy? Thank you very much, Brandy. Now we will move on. Is there any new business to come before this committee? Commissioner Nash.
Madam Chair, as we discussed this, I have a concern about the support for Health West because right now they're looking to make some conference arrangements, which if they're not made soon, they're going to continue to go up. and they need to be able to make that travel. And if we don't do that, I think it's going to jeopardize the finances that we have coming in for a grant. And I'd hate to see us lose that grant or any other future grants that we have. So I would like to make a motion that we have the approval for the travel for that staff to be able to attend conferences as according to the grant be made immediately, and that they be able to make those arrangements.
Second.
Commissioner Nash, I have received finally today from Julia and from Health West the copies of the grant, and I am going through that as we speak to find the places that the grant authorizes that travel reimbursement. I've not found it yet, but there are several pages left to go through. Up until then, I had not had all the information that I needed to approve that.
Okay.
What is your authority to approve that to begin with?
It has to be signed by the administrator and the board chair.
Okay.
Travel authorization, and I was informed that it's covered by the grant, but I've not been able to find it yet. So, and I'm very careful that when I sign something, I know that I have covered all my bases. So I read everything before, not just this one. I read it every one of them, and I will continue to do that. In all fairness, that's my job, to make sure that when I sign my name on behalf of this board, I know what I'm signing. But we do have a motion and a second.
2 seconds.
We only need 1 second. So.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
now that this is open for debate, shouldn't this go
Yes.
back to committee?
There is actually no committee for this to go back to. This the board chair signs those authorizations.
It's outside of committee authority.
It is.
Yeah.
We're actually, if I may.
You're asking me to sign something that I'm not comfortable signing, correct?
No, we're asking you to sign it because I think that this process has really gone through a little too much scrutiny, and I think that information has been provided adequately to show that that money is there, and that if we do not do this soon, not only does it jeopardize the prices continue to go up, where we have to pay even more, which is probably not in that budget, but we also do not spend that money accordingly to the grant, which that is part of that grant. We could end up jeopardizing that grant, not only losing that grant, but also losing future grants. So this is a bigger deal than just, some one person's approval. This is about the community. Again, we're trying to keep from having a worse situation than we have, and I think that that could jeopardize a lot of funding that we're awarded right now, and that's my concern. It's not personal. It's not.
Oh, I know you
I'm just
understand.
concerned about this grant and us having some jeopardizing this in this way, and the cost of this travel is going to continue to go up the longer we wait. So it needs to be done right away.
If the grant covers that, and I can find where it covers that, it's 6 people for $7,000 apiece.
Mm-hmm.
And my original concern was, why send 6 people for $7,000 apiece? Couldn't you send one person and have them come back with the information? And then
She has to do it according to the grant and the way
but
it's
she
written.
didn't send me the information that shows me that part of the grant. And today I just got some information from Brandy and several different things. I still have not found it yet. As soon as I find it, I'm happy to sign it. Until then, I'm reluctant to sign it. So, but we do have a motion on the floor. Yes, Commissioner Laring.
Last debate about that, we're 15 million plus 7 times 6, 7,000 times 6.
And I understand that, and I don't have a problem with that if the grant covers it. It's just that I have not been able to find where the grant funding covers that particular thing. And if Brandy could find that for me, I'd appreciate it. But I mean, I've gone through about 3 different things that have been sent to me from different people at Health West, and nowhere in there can I find the travel for that grant, that trip. I can't find it. So, yes, Commissioner.
I just wanted to say that I also got the information, and the information does have designated dollars that are used for travel. It will not name a specific trip, but
It does for some of them.
It is for conferences and training, and that is the training and conferences that they need to go to. And it's just, like I say, I just think that this has been scrutinized very good, which is fine, but the money's is there, and we have to get these folks into those arrangements, or the price is going to be more than $7,000, and we also jeopardize the entire grant.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, Commissioner Leary.
I appreciate your scrutiny. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a motion on the floor. Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Could you restate the motion, please, Mr. Nash? Could you restate your motion, please?
The motion is to have approval for the staff to be able to have their travel arrangements approved so that they can make their arrangements immediately. And I can't remember it all exactly, but that's
Basically bypassing the chair's signature.
no, we want the chair to sign that.
They want
We
me to,
just want it to be done right away.
but do you want me to sign it without the proof that that's covered?
I believe it's there, but that's just a matter of opinion.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, one comment. I don't believe that this board can force you to sign anything.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster,
No.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring.
So I have a problem with this vote. I do not believe this board has the authority to force our board chair to sign anything. I would like to vote no.
We will defer to our corporate counsel.
So the rules are really not that clear. They don't anticipate this. What the rule says is that a travel authorization form must be completed and sent to the administrator's office for all non-routine travel, i.e. conferences, seminars, trainings outside the state. Prior approval must be obtained from the administrator and the county board chairperson, or in his or her absence, the vice chair or a designated representative. In emergency situations, prior approval of the county board chairperson or the administrator is sufficient and mandatory. All travel authorization forms should be forwarded to the accounting office for reconciling purposes.
That's as clear as mud.
Madam Clerk, would you continue with the roll call, please?
Commissioner Laring, how did you wish to
I'm going to
proceed?
vote no. I'd like to abstain, but I'm going to vote no.
Thank you. Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Chairman Hughes,
No.
3 no, 5 yes.
And as soon as I have the information that I need to be comfortable with it, I'll sign it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Moving on to, is there any more new business? Seeing no more new business, public comment. Is there any public comment on this? Mr. Prosecutor.
Yeah, good afternoon. DJ Hilson, Muskegon County Prosecutor. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you commissioners for your support as it relates to the what we call our Safe Seniors Task Force. I appreciate your due diligence on that, and I appreciate you reminding me that patience is a virtue. I have one point of clarification, and that's based on the amendment from Commissioner Foster. You may not know this, but I've been jumping through a lot of process this afternoon to line up the position itself, and now if I understand the motion, and somebody clarify for me, do we just get to hire now, or do I have to go through the process?
No, we've authorized you to go ahead and.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, my poor office administrator, I texted her, get down here as we were scrambling to do the paperwork. So I just want to make sure that I'm on the same level as you guys.
Yes.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah, we want that moved forward as soon as possible.
Thankfully, we'll be starting somebody probably next week.
Perfect. Thank you. Would you please state your name and limit your comments to 2 minutes or less?
My name is Jim Riley. I live in Norton Shores. I really enjoyed the conversation about the Health West change. This is the kind of thing that a lot of folks who are not thrilled with the way the board has been operating is that we'd like to hear. We'd like to hear the pro and the con. We may not necessarily, well, clearly we're going to agree probably more so with one side than the other, but we'd like to hear that kind of conversation. It ought to be either in a committee meeting or in a special meeting, but this is a very big deal. But I would like to just to remind folks, the term loose cannon has a definition. And we've had a loose cannon here in Muskegon County for, sadly, some number of years, and that is Muskegon Family Care. That was a loose cannon that a lot of people knew about, and a loose cannon's definition is an unpredictable or uncontrolled person or entity who's likely to cause unintentional damage. Health West is a loose cannon. The damage is it would go bankrupt. The damage, unintentional, of course, but the damage is that it will create spending and debt that this county, which does not have additional funds for funny money, will have to pick up. That is a loose cannon. What we need to do, and that obviously I'm taking a particular point on this issue, but this is the kind of conversation that ought to be discussed pro and con, both sides. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Anyone else?
Melinda Pego, Muskegon County resident. On the agenda, there's a closed session for Information Systems Intelligence. I believe that's a lawsuit on about $5 million with a 15% interest. I'm curious, I'm not sure if that's going to be decided in closed session or open session, how that's going to be paid, how the county plans on doing that. And regarding Health West, MATS, and those other things, you guys have talked about that many times in the last year that I'm coming to the meetings on making them and going forward as getting them to become their own separate authority. If you don't ever just start, it's never going to happen. Yes, it might take a year, it might take longer, but you have to actually get started to get that process going. And there was something else. I don't remember. I don't have my notes. Anyway, I strongly urge all of those to get moving in the right direction to become a separate authority because the taxpayers don't. Oh, Health West. So at your work session for that was a couple of months ago I attended, that someone stated that we are only one of maybe 2 counties, possibly 3 of all of the Michigan counties that have that underneath our county. The rest of them all already operate under their separate authority. So I'm sure there's plenty of other counties that we can connect with and get information from them on the best way, to move forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on, and I will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss a written confidential legal opinion pursuant to MCL 15.268 and to consult with the county's attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with Information Systems Intelligence LLC versus Muskegon County, case number 16-000694CB, Ingham County docket number 16-1260. The discussion of which will, in an open meeting, will have a detrimental financial effect on the litigation or settlement position of the county.
So
I will move all of that.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Mahoney, second by Commissioner Hovey Wright. Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins, yes. Vice Chair Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
yes.
Commissioner Larry,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. And we will clear the boardroom and close the doors for a closed session. Thank you.
proceed with the whole bond thing.
Sean, you ready?
You ready? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to go out of closed session.
Support.
And all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oppose the same. That motion is carried.
And I would move we adjourn.
And we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a
Support.
second? We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We are adjourned.
Gavel too.
Don't need it. Don't need it. One